All right, everybody. It's early morning and it's like 5 a.m. And I've been going through the comments on Reddit and we got like 2,200 views on my NeoVim video. And I'm absolutely terrified that it's going to be taken the wrong way. And sure enough, there's been, out of all the comments, they've almost all been supportive. The most hilarious comment was one that was like, it was like a 7 line comment with one, uh, was somebody saying, I watched this for 1 minute, and then they proceeded to ask questions that were answered in the first 5 minutes that they would have got answers to had they watched the video for 5 minutes. It's a long video. I don't do short videos usually. I mean, I try. But the question really before me is one that I'm very seriously contemplating, and I want your feedback on it. So I'm going to post this video to Reddit so we can have a discussion thread. And I very seriously want your answers here. Should you keep your noted mistakes available online? That's the question. There's stuff in my Zettelkasten that I no longer agree with at all. That video that I did was me deleting stuff from my knowledge base with ranty stuff that I didn't believe in anymore. And the nature of a Zettelkasten is you're supposed to be able to take those things out of there. And I mean, if you guys know about my Zettelkasten, we can go look it up. So I'm going to take this down, by the way. This is the tamer of the articles. But if you go to github.com, uh, or sorry, zet.github, did I get that right? What is it? rwxrob.github.io/zet, I think. So here's my index Zettelkasten, right? And the idea of this, and this has got positive things about NeoVim. So every time something gets updated, this gets updated, right? And I'm not pushing this. That's not what this video is about. I hate it when people keep doing this. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy's just trying to pump his views. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, why would he spend so much time on this? I said I answered that. I described it in the video. I deal with people who are learning all the time. I have my whole life. I started my own business on it. The reason I spend time on these videos is to help people learn and know where to go. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I don't give a shit. Yeah, sure, the money pays for my Starlink so I can IRL stream, but anybody that knows me at all knows that. Stop saying shit like that. Okay. Anyway, so and yeah, that's yet another disconnected diatribe, to quote somebody exactly. People are like, "How dare you read your comments? You're just gonna beat yourself up reading the comments." Well, I'm asking you to make more comments beating me up. Hopefully, you'll be kind about it. But the question is very simple: should you leave up your content that you no longer agree with? What do you think? That's it. That's the crux of this video. That's the crux of this video. If you don't see anything else, now you can stop. You can make a comment. You know, I'm going to tell you what I think and where my current position is, but why I'm rethinking it. Um, uh, I think that it's impossible to get people in 2024 to take the time to read enough or to watch it. They won't even watch more than a minute of video. People have trolling videos where the actual video is contained in the last 5 minutes because they know people won't watch it. Given this context, the real question is, do we care about those people? And the answer is yes, I actually do. You know why? Because those are the people that I want to get to. The people who spend 1 minute on a 60-minute explanation video where all the best part is at the end and they didn't even go to the end to see it, those people are the most... I could, say bad things about them or whatever. We can all make fun of them. Or we could try to help them. And I deal with these people all the time. I've been dealing with people like this for more than a decade professionally. I'm not talking about at work. I'm talking about helping people to learn. Most of them are younger. They're in the 8 to 18 range. And it is a disease, friends. It is a disease. This dopamine addicted, I have to get all my answers in 1 minute. Answer me really right away or I'm going to walk away and I'm going to blame you. That behavior comes from a disease, and the disease is worse than COVID. The disease is the lack of ability to create any autodidactic research at all. And you see it at odds with people. There's other comments in the Reddit and other people. There's people who have figured this out, and they behave like self-taught people in a Linux news group or in an IRC chat. And then you have the people that ask the questions. There's people who have made sites called Let Me Google That For You. And you put those two groups of people together, and you get nothing but toxic. You get nothing but toxic. You get the people who have spent the time, they know how to answer their own questions, and they think the people that put 1 minute in and ask questions are absolute morons, and they go off on them. And the dynamic between those two is very toxic and unhealthy. And I'm just describing the climate because that's the climate we're in. So what do we want to do about it, right? What do we want to do about it? Do we want to just accept it the way it is and cater to the people who have already become enlightened and know how to figure out how to answer their own questions? Or do we want to roast everybody like I did for the first year on Twitch? Some of you might remember this, but for the first year on Twitch, if someone came into my, and this was on purpose, by the way, it was a technique I used to use in my school as well as here, and it's questionable, but it's not unusual, right? They would come, people would ask questions they could answer on their stuff, and I would roast them. I would roast them, but it was a roast of love. Honestly, honest to God, it was a roast of love, because I was like, I don't know, you tell me. Like, like, why are you? It did come off kind of like, why are you wasting my time? And one time, this is a direct quote. I had a guy come in. Some of you might actually remember this. I had a guy come into my chat. I assume it was a guy. I don't know. And everybody assumes it's a guy. I'm sure I'm going to get comments on that too. I had somebody come into my chat and they asked me a question, and they said what was the chat about or something. And I said some snide remark like, it's in the title. And they shot back and they said, you could have told me that instead of making fun of me. It would have taken you less time. How do you feel about that? And then the next comment they said was, and they weren't wrong, you're just as big as asshole as people say. The ironic thing is if they had been paying me to come to my school, it would have done the same thing. Because it's a disease. It's a disease. And this is going to come, I'm going to get a comment saying, you're saying people that ask questions are diseased. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that people somehow, I don't know how, but a large percentage of people in the world have not learned the most important skill, the absolute most important skill, not just of technology, but in life. And I'm not talking about loving others. I'm talking about getting your own answers to questions, becoming an autodidact. And if you go to skillsec.io, this is the site. It's all free, but start your tech career. There's an unusually large amount of content that talks about knowing it's never too late, thinking like a hacker, right? And people, most of these people that come there, thank you for the ball. The people who chafe at this stuff. It's really sad because this is one of the things that I cannot. It's very hard for me to help people online. That's why I'm making a video here with this problem, because I can't. These days you can't even put your arm around somebody, right? You can't even touch them. But if I am in person with somebody, like I used to be in my own brick and mortar, and we're having game nights and we're having fun together and we have a relationship. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? And then when they ask me a question they can answer on their own, I can poke them. I can jab them. I can say, look, why are you being so intellectually lazy? That's my term for it. And the problem with this is that the disease is intellectual laziness. It's this lack of desire to even lift a finger to understand the topic, or to do your own research, or to sit through somebody's explanation, winding to put up with their rhetorical style and actually listen and care about what they say. People do not want to spend the time listening to each other watching each other's videos, writing a good response instead of a mean one. The disease, the YouTube, problem is not that people, you know, are trolls and they want to create fights. It's because they're just fucking lazy. People are lazy, and I'm lazy, but I hope it's in a good way. But the intellectual laziness is the thing I got very little patience for. But I want to help people with it. So why did I talk about all of that? There's at least one commenter who's going to say, "Oh my God, he's going off on all this philosophical shit. He's not staying with the question in the middle of the title," and I am, but it's for a purpose. That is the environment we live in. So if I consider that we live in a time where people are full of diseased brains that refuse to read further. So, in a very specific sense, we're talking about people that would read one of my Zettelkastens that was written a long time ago, and they would go, "Oh my God, this guy is an asshole," and they make their conclusion right there, and they would never, they never care to actually if I've changed my mind. And I've done this. I've done this. And I talk about that in that video. I talk about it in the video. I assumed negative intent when they ripped out Smile. And in fact, they probably just didn't get to it because they weren't done with Lua yet. I mean, they weren't done with Neovim yet. So I've done it. I've assumed this thing. I have not spent enough time. I have borrowed my wife's voting roster because I don't have time to read all the issues on everything. And I know I trust her and she's done it. I am just as subjected to this problem as anyone. And knowing that, then I'm going to have to ask myself a very, very, very honest question. I have to ask myself, "Hey, Krabba, how are you doing?" You have to ask yourself a very honest question. Should I make my thoughts public at all? And I have taken down my Zettelkasten at least 5 times, and then made it private, and then made it public, and made it private, and then made it public, and made it private, and made it public. Every time I take it down, the bulk of my community is like, "Oh my God, please put it back. I love searching it. It's got so many answers for things that I need." And Akip, I'm with you. Selective thoughts to the public is a good idea. That's what people generally do with blogs. They also do that in UCP news groups, which cannot be deleted, by the way. That's why those Linux news groups are so interesting, because you can't take back something you've said. You can't delete it. You can't go on Reddit and edit your post and make it something different. You can't take your Zettelkasten down. You can't delete your post. It's there forever, right? And the argument that they use is that you need to think about what you're going to write before you write it, because it's going to be permanent. Everything you say is permanent. So the concept of a Zettelkasten, a public Zettelkasten, is fundamentally at odds with that. If you agree with that, having a public Zettelkasten is fundamentally against the idea of being really careful what you say, because it's going to be out there forever. Now, the reason I did it, and I've written about this a lot, but the reason I did it is because I wanted people to see my thought process happening in real time. The downside of that is that there is like all kinds of F-bombs and shit in there because I wrote it in the moment. I make videos in the moment. And people tell me all the time they're here for that. They want to hear the authentic, real responses. They don't want some contrived canned response. They want the authentic reaction. The reason reaction videos are so popular on YouTube, people want the initial reaction. They want to see what your initial reaction is. They want to see what you really think. They don't want you to back off of it and have some nice, happy political response that takes you, a full day to edit. They want to know you as a human being. They want to see that. But the problem is that you either have to delete the video, which I did, and this is kind of partially me explaining that I deleted. I made an angry Neovim video 2 weeks ago. I mean, it was angry. It was super angry, and I was wrong. I was so wrong in that video. That video was so wrong. If you got a chance to see that video, the video will exist for another 7 days. If you still want to see it, you can go find it. There's a VOD of me making that video, but I I just, I'm telling you, I deleted it on purpose. So communication is 90% nonverbal. That's one reason people problems happen. Yeah, absolutely. So the point I'm trying to make here is I think the point I'm trying to make is I actually don't know. I don't know. I'm asking you. Why am I still up? Because I just woke up. I slept for 7 hours. I went to bed at 9. I went to bed at 9 p.m. tonight. So, you know, I think I know the answer. And for those of you who come to the end of the video, this is going to be my answer for now. The answer for now is I will continue to write content and to make videos based on what I currently feel and the live reaction I've had to something. But I'm going to reserve the right to delete content that I no longer agree with. But I won't have the time to delete. I have over, 1,200 videos? I have 1,200 videos. I am not going to go watch every one of my videos and delete it to see if I still agree with it or not. Should I do that? Probably. I probably should do that. I don't have that kind of time. And at least one person out there just thought, well, then you shouldn't make videos. And they're right. They are. They're absolutely right. I shouldn't be making videos. If I don't have the time to be responsible about the content of my videos and actually edit them and go back and take them down, maybe I shouldn't be making videos. Maybe I have no business being here. And that is a real thought that's going through my head right now. And it's not just my thought that's going through my head. There was a YouTuber who did terminal command line skills, and he had about 70 or 80 fantastic videos about the terminal, and he overnight deleted them all. He was gone. Like in an instant, he was gone. And he made one last video. You're going to remember him. He made a video at the very end, and he said, "Good night. Go to sleep, Alpaca." Alpaca's drunk. We'll see you tomorrow, buddy. And I was so sad. The last video they made was why they were getting off YouTube. And they said they were done with the shit. They were tired of it, all the comments and everything. So they had let the comments and everything. They had produced amazing videos about how to use the terminal, and they deleted all of them because of the YouTube drama over it. And they were like, I'm not going to do this anymore. So if people cannot understand a blog diary, not ready to watch, YouTube is like a character development as a person. And I think I like what you're saying. Having strong opinions that you change later, your mind is not irresponsible, though. I agree. The question, though, Minerva, is do we want people to see that process? And let me give you a very specific case. I deleted those Zettelkasten entries that contained absolute, just full of anger and passion and stuff. And the main reason I deleted them is because there are certain points at parts of it where it was downright, attacking another human. And I have tons of that in my Zettelkasten still. If you go back and watch my early YouTube videos, there are videos of me being like Linus Torvalds. And actually, one of the best parts about where we're at today, I mean, I want to say that the Primogen and I have a pretty good relationship now. And I think that that's for two reasons. One, I've grown as a human being. And two, he's grown to understand where I was raised. And he spent a lot of time reading Unix mailing lists. And I think the Primogen, when we had our drama 4 years ago, I think it was a fundamental misunderstanding of where we were coming from. I was coming from the Linux community. And so calling someone a moron is like nothing, absolutely nothing in that community. Prime just made a video recently going through that video. Actually, there's a little bit of it in the it's called VI video I made. And he was reading through the Unix mailing list, and he's trying to grapple with just how toxic that community is. And you can tell that he has come to an understanding of what it means to be a technologist in that community, in that community. And that's the community I come from. So when I get on YouTube and I call somebody a moron or I say you're an idiot for using NeoVim or something stupid like that, I've never had the same level of toxicity and hate associated with it that someone would attribute to it just who just doesn't know. Because that's how we talk to each other in that community. And if you don't believe me, they're still talking to each other that way in that community. It's not healthy. It's not good. They shouldn't be doing it. They should grow out of it. I believe I have grown out of it. People are way too soft. People say that they're way too soft and we need to be tough on each other. That's how I am. Okay? That's how I was raised. We like beat each other up and then I buy you a beer. That's how I was raised. Is it right? No. It's literally an informal fallacy. So talk or therapy then. I'm not trying to be mean here. I don't know if it feels normal. I agree. Linus Torvalds checked himself into anger training, but it's clearly hasn't done anything. You should see. Go read the comments he just made to the persons from the Rust list. He's personally attacking him at a level that is like not even close to him. He's called people backbursts and asked how they can feed themselves because they're so stupid in his own community. And Prime once made a video, and it was a video that I considered to be kind of anti-Rob back in the day. You have to go find it. It's probably, I don't know if it's there. And he was legitimately worried. He was like, please be careful who your mentors are. And his concern was all he knew of the community I came from was me. And he's like, please don't let, But now he's made a video recently where he's saying, this is a part of normal communications in that community, and he's trying to grapple with what does normal mean. But the point is that I believe Prime and people like him have come a long way in understanding. It doesn't excuse it, but in understanding what I have had to deal with and how we talk to each other and how we have been raised. Right? It's not okay to do that. It's not. It's okay. We need to change. We need to stop talking to each other like that. Even if we're good friends, this whole good nature ribbing that particularly men do with each other, in my experience, that's just my experience, but this whole, calling each other dicks and like punching them and that shit, I never liked that. I never could get into it. I would always be like the guy who would punch back and I'd overly punch. I punched too hard. They'd be like, damn, Rob, why are you so mean? I'm like, well, we're joking around. I never got it. So some people have thicker skin than others. The Reddit post went pretty good, actually. Most people are reading it well. So the question remains, do we delete our stuff? So if you didn't watch to the end of this video, I'm not surprised. You really dislike the whole bantering culture thing. You know what's funny? I've noticed that people, good communicators, people who are good communicators, they don't like it. A lot of people just don't like it. The whole good nature, if you want a really solid example of this, look at the military. The military, one of the reasons I started out in ROTC, and one of the things I realized really early on that I could not do was this good nature bantering that happens in the military. But if you want to understand what I'm talking about, and I'm not saying it's bad, the people in the military will talk shit about each other constantly, and then they'll die for each other because they're so closely bonded. It's like the most, it's just amazing. It's like, so it's like, I don't understand it. And they have their, it's almost like you have to learn a foreign language. It's like, when are your insults not insults, I would like to understand that better, but I don't feel like I do. And if you're communicating, unless you're like in person, I really feel like you shouldn't even attempt that. If you're in person, then someone can pick up your nonverbal cues. They can see your face, and they can know that you don't really mean that they're a moron, or whatever the things that we say to each other, whether it be the Linux community or the military. I think if you're in person and you're communicating that way, you can pull off that sort of double entendre stuff, right? But you certainly, I mean, this is obvious. You can't do that in a Reddit post. You can't. You can't. If you're doing the live stream, if I'm the one who's talking to you and you can see me move my hands and stuff, and I call you a moron and smile, I love you, I can like diffuse the thing, and you can at least understand that it is a double entendre. But there's a lot of that's happening that's turning into hate, and some people deliberately try to troll other people. They think it's hilarious, and that's a totally different psyop, which we'll talk about at some other point. And I'm not against psyops for a purpose, if that's but that's not what we're talking about here. That's totally different. They're more self-indulgent and selfish. Yes. You're 22. Most of the time, I feel lost. Yeah. Well, I'm seeing me be openly wrong. Help somebody. Hope so. Yes. So again, I'm going to end the video now. But the this is I really, I mean, I appreciate the comments, but I don't want this to turn into like a Rob pity party. Even though I love a pity party for what's his name. God, I love that. I love that YouTuber. He's so amazing. I can't remember the name now. But I don't want to turn it around. If you ever see me start wearing like a clown costume, so anyway, um, yeah, my conclusion as of this moment is that I'm going to reserve the right to take videos or blog posts or Zelicastons down, and but I am not going to take everything down. And the reason for that's largely one of practicality. Um, I think I feel bad because I feel like part of me is doing a disservice. Um, Eliminating all content where that has you being disagreeable is my mind, to my way of thinking, is a little bit disingenuous, because if you're curating your persona to the world as being this person who knows everything and is never wrong, I feel like that's you're not helping anybody by doing that. I think people need to see you be wrong, and I think if anything that is needed on YouTube, they need more people to be real. And as far as I can tell, at least internally, I am trying to be real. Sometimes I question whether subconsciously I am acting a part. I don't know. It's a very complicated thing, but I want to be authentic. I want people to see me make mistakes. I want to see me swear and occasionally cry or tape my nipples when I get drunk. It's that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want to see more of. So, the best I can do is try to provide what I think other people should do. And when I see curated performances and people, there's one thing where people have fun with it, and they dress up like a frog forever or something, and I get that. That's fun. But and then there's the whole Doctor Disrespect thing, and I don't know. I personally, the content I want to see is I want to see more people being real, and that means being wrong in a real way. Anytime that I'm wrong, though, and it involves tearing someone else down at a personal level, that's going to be the content that I am absolutely going to delete. Not because I want people to think that I'm this guy who doesn't ever say horrible things about other people, but because it's just wrong for the other person to have that content up there. And I mean, I immediately regretted going through some of my Zettelkastens in that previous video from this one, because I actually read, and I hate that I can't take it back, but I'm not taking that part back. I read some of the things, the strong words that I said, and the personal attacks, not by name, but it was pretty obvious in that last video. And if I'm going to follow through on this idea, then I really should have deleted the last Neophyte video I just made, right? Because that was me reading those things live, and that video is going to be around a long time. People are going to see me saying fucking horrible things, things that the people who they were about may have not even seen yet. And I'm terrified that they're going to read it, and they're going to watch the video, and they're going to see it. I thought the reaction of me reading my old shit was going to be video worthy, and I kind of second guessing that now, because because it contains some absolutely horrible shit that I didn't even know I was capable of writing. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't think I would have left it up, and I did, and I found it real time on the video, and I was reading through it, and I was like, oh my god, I wish I could immediately pause this video and just delete this one. I don't want this one to even be out there. So anyway, that's all. That's all. That's me having a coffee talk with you in the morning. It's another hour-long video. But yeah, thank you, AK, for the reminder. So that's it. That's it. So the conclusion is, I'm going to continue to put stuff up, authentic reactions. In fact, there's going to be a lot more reactions. I'm going to be making genuine reaction videos to other tech videos, and that's not to rip off their content. That's because I need to make sure a lot of people are looking at me to inform or help them make their own decision about what they should learn, and I owe it to them. If I'm going to do this, I owe it to them to make some sort of response to the stuff that's out there. And obviously I'm going to spend more of my time writing code and putting good things out into the universe, and then doing the beginner boost, which starts next week. But a big percentage of this content that I'm going to do is going to be direct responses to things, and that are not all negative, of course. And so based on that, this video is relevant, because this is if I make a reaction video and my live reaction is wrong or mean, I'm going to delete that video. I'm going to delete it. I'm just telling you right now. But if you want to be around for the live reaction, you can do that. In fact, that's probably the best way to go about doing this. My live reactions will be on Twitch, and they will fade away after 14 days. It used to be 60 days, now it's 14. After 14 days, my live reactions will fade into the ether. They won't exist anymore. And the moments within them that are worth pushing to the world will be those will be kept if I feel like they're good enough. Anyway, I'm fine tuning my attitude. That's what's happening. And by the way, if all you have to do is go watch a video from me back in 2020, and you can see it's not just my beard that's changed. It's kind of terrifying, actually, having your entire personality on display and watching how I've changed over the years. I hope I'm going in the right direction. I really do. Sometimes I don't know. So anyway, that's the end for this video. I'm still going to stream. I'm going to go write some code now, but I'm going to go ahead and end the video and go ahead and publish this right now.